Honey, don't walk out, I'm too drunk to follow. You know you won't feel this way tomorrow. Well, I'm a little rough around the edges and inside a little hollow. And I'm faced with something sometimes that are so hard to swallow. Hey, but I was born a rebel down in Bewley on a Tuesday morning. Of 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot's on the pedal. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. She picked me up in the morning and she paid all my tickets and screamed in the car and left me out in the thicket. Well, I never would have dreamed that her heart was so wicked. I keep coming back, 'cause it's so hard to kick it. Hey, 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 and I was born a rebel down in Dixie on a Sunday morning. 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot's on the pedal. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. Even before my father's father, well, they called us all rebels. They burn out our crops and they leveled our town. Well, I still feel the eyes of those red-coated devils, and I'm walking around tonight through the concrete and metal. Hey, 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 'cause I was born a rebel up in Bewley on a Tuesday morning. I've 1 foot in the grave, I've 1 foot on the pedal. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. Hey, 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 I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel.
If there would be but 100 of us remained alive, never would we under any condition be brought under anybody's idea of a new world order. It is, in truth, not for honor, nor for glory, nor for riches that we are fighting, but for freedom, for that one thing alone which no honest person would give up save with life itself. Once we were warrior poets. For now, we must stand for peace. But if you hear my voice, you are part of the resistance. And our time is coming. Well, hello there, everyone. I hope you are enjoying the warmth, the sunshine in this disunited kingdom. Thanks, Ben. We spend most of our time grumbling about the weather. It's too cold, it's too wet. And then when we get a heat wave, we moan it's too fucking hot. Now, what is true is they are using the current heat dome, and it's man-made probably, to push the climate agenda. Here's the difference. Whilst it's true that the way weather was reported in the 70s, 80s, 90s, this weather would have been, it's a glorious warm summer. Now it's a case of, oh, it's a red alert for health. The reason for that is simple. I've reported it before, but maybe I wasn't clear enough. It's not the heat that's the problem. It's the heat plus the humidity. You see, the heat itself does have consequences. Above a certain temperature, plants and trees turn off their stigmata. Now, the stigmata is the thing that takes in carbon dioxide and produces oxygen. It stops the tree from growing, it stops the plant from flowering. Now, whilst that isn't the biggest issue, because these heat waves, these heat domes don't last very long, what is a bigger issue is that the atmosphere is holding much more moisture, and that makes it much more humid. And a little bit beyond 40 degrees Celsius, with relative humidity, what happens is a thing called wet bulb syndrome. The body is designed to kill itself. If you cannot sweat, your body overheats, and they call that wet bulb syndrome. So that's why they are so aggravated about the heat. Today, I watched a bumblebee die in front of me. When I found it, it was on its back, exhausted, unable to fly back to its hive, but with its legs still moving. Very gently, I turned it over, and it tried to walk, tried to move. I fetched some sugar water. It took a little, but couldn't take very much. And it died. Pretty soon, we all better become bumblebee survivalists. Anyway, that's the good news. Tonight's title is Beware the Fury of a Patient Man. Now, if you Google that, you'll be told it's a John Dryden poem from the 17th century. The saying actually goes back a lot further. It's a very old proverb. But the poem, in the section in which John Dryden quotes it, is this: "Must I at length the sword of justice draw? O cursed effects of this necessary law! How ill my fear they by my mercy scan! Beware the fury of a patient man." In this United Kingdom, Keir Starmer has finally gone. Well, except he's not. Burnham is going to be selected. No one is going to stand in opposition. But they have until the end of next month to do so if they're going to. That means for about little over 5 weeks, the UK has a zombie Prime Minister and a zombie government. They're hanging about like the bad smell when someone has a shit in your indoor downstairs toilet without putting the fan on. And whilst they're hanging about, you see, they could have simply installed Burnham the day Starmer resigned, but they didn't, and they didn't willfully and for a reason. During the period of having a zombie government, watch out, this is the most dangerous time. We already live under tyranny in this United Kingdom, whether you know it or not. But during this time, they can push through legislation. They can provide Ukraine with weapons. They can provoke Russia in numerous ways because it's a deep state in charge, not anyone elected. Not that elections make any difference. And yes, as everybody is saying in the chat, all you're doing is swapping one WF puppet, one globalist, one Zionist for another. Burnham's arse has barely warmed a bench in the House of Commons, and already the corruption set in and his wife's getting contracts for electric vehicles. Burnham's Chief of Staff, James Purnell, is the ex-chair of the Labour Friends of Israel. Burnham is a WEF puppet. I shouldn't have to say any of these things. You should know all of that anyway. And what sort of provocations might the deep state through the UK do during this time of zombie government? Well, I don't know. How about using British Storm Shadows to target a refinery in Voronezh, killing 5 civilians in the process? How about scraping away the name Storm Shadow, pretending that it's the new missile developed for Ukraine and giving it to them at 20 a month? Russia can use far more than 20 in any one strike and not even feel a glitch in its inventory. Germany is doing the same. France is doing the same. There ain't that many scalps or storm shadows or anything out there in the inventory. The current news is that Britain is developing a long range missile to strike, according to the photograph, deep into Moscow with a 250 kilogram warhead. That's big. Without any American parts. So the Ukrainian Nazis can just use it without anyone's permission. That's the idea. Except they still need the targeting data, they still need the satellites. It was British military who attached the Storm Shadows to the aircraft, which were used in the latest attack deep inside Russia. They're really not liking it tonight, aren't they, folks? Well, good. Because why should they like it? Medvedev, Putin, Lavrov have all been giving major speeches in the last few days. Medvedev, he says, when actual combat begins, NATO disappears. Well, Sir Rowley Walker, Sir Rowley, because you know with the name Rowley, he was brought up in a council estate, don't you? Sir Rowley Walker, who is the new head of the British Armed Forces, says that British troops are ready to strike at Russia within 30 minutes of any attack on Britain. With fucking what? Roly poly. You're sat in a room with lead soldiers. They ain't going to fight. You can move them about that board as much as you like. Russia will fucking annihilate you. Medvedev was referring to the fact that the spark current between the US and Europe is that when Trump called for assistance in the recent war against Iran, not one European country offered military support. Medvedev also says the West twists the UN Charter to justify each and every Ukraine terrorist attack, like the one carried out with Storm Shadow missiles onto a tourist beach in Sevastopol, killing men, women, and children who were there on holiday, enjoying the sunshine. Putin has come out and said that the Europeans are acting like Nazi Germans in World War II and that they are preparing a second Operation Barbarossa. Lavrov, he said, Russia will always negotiate. However, maybe sometimes we've been dim-witted. We won't be again. He has again told all Western diplomats, all foreign diplomats, to leave Kiev because the Russians can no longer guarantee their safety, which starts to sound as if Russia's about to hammer Kiev. I'll come back to that in a moment. Zelensky, almost a week ago, threatened to attack Belarus. I guess we'll find out before the weekend if the Coke King of Kiev actually has the cojones to do that. Because Russia and Belarus are a single nation state, far stronger than any NATO Article 5, far stronger. Any attack on Belarus will be answered by the Russians. Lavrov this day has said, if Ukraine attacks Belarus, Russia will use, listen to what he said, not me, Russia will use nuclear weapons and give Minsk all military assistance. If the crazy leaders in the European Union, who are all falling like sick dominoes, albeit there's always another puppet to put in their place. But if these sick wackos get their way, they will attack Russia through Belarus. An attack on Belarus, yes, Sven, given to them by the Russians. And they can't fire them without Russian approval. The NATO attempt would be to sever the land corridor with Kaliningrad, Suwalki Gap again, people, by the invasion of Western Belarus. World War II, Belarus was one of the key centers used by the Nazis to invade into Russia, to St. Petersburg, which at that time was called Stalingrad. Here's the thing, geography works two ways. Belarus, which is only a population of about 9 million, does have a very strong military. And Kiev is only a short march away from the borders with Belarus. More bad news for the Ukraine Nazis. General Surovikin, call sign Armageddon, has been recalled from Africa. Surovikin was the guy who was put in charge of first the Russian aviation forces at a time when the West was pouring in all sorts of air defense into Ukraine when it still had any. And he oversaw massive attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure. He was then promoted to the head of the Russian armed forces. His expression of support during the so-called Wagner revolt. What was Wagner asking for? They wanted Russia to go quicker, harder, faster. So Surovikin was removed from post because he supported that opinion. That was a minority opinion back in 2023. 3 years later, it's starting to be a majority opinion in Russia. The bringing back of General Armageddon is a signal Russia is targeting British forces, trainers, advisors, wherever they are in Ukraine, actively targeting him. Surovikin, I think, has been brought in to plan a strategic bombing campaign of Kiev that will make Dresden or the Tokyo firestorms look tame. Russia has had enough. Putin has had enough. Beware the fury of a patient man. There are several lines of escalation now that Russia are going to go up. The first will be massive attacks on Kiev, the taking out of key decision-making centers. And if they can get Zelensky, all the better. Then, if necessary, they will give an impressive show of Orezhnik's in western Ukraine. Then, if necessary, they will use a tactical nuke in western Ukraine. Many are talking about the city of Lvov, very close to the Polish border. Then they may well do kinetic attacks on European countries. The UK is enemy number one, closely followed by Germany, which is trying to rearm. Germany and France, as Alex reported, just took over one of the largest tank factories in Europe. It's much more than a loss of patience by the Russians. Beware the fury of a patient man. And at each point, Russia is going to dare NATO and the United States to get involved. On the ground, the fortress city of Konstantinopla has fallen. Lehman has fallen. Smolensk has fallen. There is only one last fortress town left in the Donetsk in control of the Ukrainians, and that is Kramatorsk. Russia is advancing on Kramatorsk in three directions, from the north, east, and south. They may well envelop the entire city and produce a cauldron. If they do, and despite, yes, it's harder to fight because of the drones, but Russia's coming up with new anti-drone tactics all the time. The numbers that the lunatics in the West throw out, like Mark Rutte, of Russian casualties are mere fantasy. It's mere fantasy that Ukraine has turned any tide. When Kramatorsk falls, one, the Donbass is liberated. Two, there is nothing between the Russians and the Dnipro opposite Kiev. Now, that could also be the breaking point of the Ukrainian military. But that's all right, because the Coke King of Kiev likes to pick fights with everybody, including the Poles. And the Poles have now said that Ukraine will go down in history as the most corrupt and ungrateful country on the planet. Here's your problem, Poland. You've got too many of the fuckers inside your borders. And we all know a Ukrainian rent boy or not likes a bit of arson. You're worrying in the UK about immigrants? You ought to worry about the fucking Ukrats. Because every bastard one of them's a Nazi, and every bastard one of them is a fifth columnist. The Senate has belatedly voted to try and impose some form of calm in the Middle East. They have revoked, well, they've passed a war powers resolution requiring Trump to get the troops home and restricting his ability to wage war with Iran. Beware the fury of a patient man, and Iran is being extremely patient. Whilst the US continues to do provocation strikes against Iran, whilst the giant Oompa Loompa keeps mouthing threats against Iran, the Iranians very calmly just say, okay, you're not following the memorandum of understanding, we'll just shut the Straits of Hormuz again. And with each and every shutting of Hormuz, the global depression, the global oil shock draws ever nearer. And there are also answers in kind, like how today it destroyed 6 LCU landing craft in a port in Kuwait. 2 other US Navy vessels attempted to run the Strait of Hormuz without Iranian permission, and boom, diddy boom, boom, boom. They're both on fire. Netanyahu is fighting for his political life at home. The Zionists are getting their asses kicked by Hezbollah. So, yes, okay, Suzanne, yeah, I should say, yes. Most of the ships that are going in and out of the Gulf of Hormuz are Iranian tankers. Now that sanctions have been lifted momentarily, they know it. They're making a fortune on the oil markets. Other tankers, other vessels can't be insured. No insurer is going to insure when the giant Oompa Loompa keeps threatening Iran, and Iran keeps saying, oh well, we'll just block the straits again and we'll blow anything out that attempts to run the blockade. The main problem, Larry Johnson has done a good explanation of this. The main problem we are facing is oil refineries, especially in the United States, but actually across the Western world, are geared up for refining heavy oil. And petrol, or gasoline, if you like, is made in abundance in these processes. It's the middle hydrates that you have to make a choice from. Will you turn that into aviation fuel, avgas, kerosene? Or will you turn it into diesel? Oh. Now, with strategic reserves running on fumes, that becomes ever more an important decision. But Trump is literally between a rock and a very hard place. Israel continues to simply defy him. And whilst Netanyahu might be on his last legs like Starmer, any replacement is going to be so much more Zionistic. They invaded Rafah again in Gaza, despite Trump telling them expletively not to. Israel Katz, defense minister, says that they don't care if America demands jack shit. They won't be leaving southern Lebanon. I don't know, but those who report on these things say that Trump is more and more afraid of assassination. Like the blustering bully Trump is, he's actually afraid of many things. He's afraid of looking as bad as Jimmy Carter with the hostage crisis. He's afraid of looking as bad as Richard Nixon. He's as afraid of looking even worse by being the president to bring in another global depression. He's afraid of everything, but the thing he's most afraid of is assassination. Whatever they have on him in the Epstein files is no longer enough to stop him, and he's half demented anyway, let's face it, from trying to bring some sanity, to stop the economic meltdown which is coming. Well, Netanyahu, in a recent address, reminded his Israeli audience about the Patriot attack in Lebanon and how he gave Trump a present of a golden pager. Was that indeed a message being sent? It's been revealed that Mossad wanted to assassinate the Pakistani military chief Azam Munir whilst he was in Switzerland as part of the negotiating delegation. The Islamic states are creating an Islamic NATO. That would consist of Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, and Pakistan with their nukes. Israel might be in deep fucking doo-doo. Now, mind, and please mind, these are not my words, but Noam Chomsky, that famous academic, political scientist, writer, author, Noam Chomsky said that as a Jew himself, he is called for the entire elimination of Israel as the only way to bring peace to the Middle East. The very nation of Israel is starting to face existential threats. And it's only a small country. One or two nuclear weapons, and it's bye-bye, Benny. Bye-bye, Bibi. Because of the continuing Israeli aggression in Lebanon, Iran is also continuing to target Israel. The problem with a nuclear-powered state is if it feels itself under existential threat, it is ever more tempted to reach for its stockpile of nuclear weapons. The miracle in South Africa, which another nuclear power state, most people forget about South Africa in those terms, was that they were able to transfer from being that bipartite state into being, it's a Samson option, Kathy, but you got the idea, into being a multi-racial country without that struggle becoming nuclear. The US lost comprehensively the Iranian war. It showed the vulnerability of the United States and the United States military. Other countries like Russia, like China, have noted just how weak the United States actually is. Smaller countries are no longer intimidated by the United States. The rules of the game have changed. Without Big Daddy, Europe is a toothless tiger. Without Big Daddy, Israel is a toothless tiger. If the United States now decides to try and win back some sort of, I don't know, credibility as a military by invading Cuba, beware. And the other one, which is on the table, is North Korea. North Korea is far more advanced than you know. And it's just possible that they can reunite with South Korea bloodlessly. America will do all in its power to stop that. But North Korea has a nation state bond with China and a military pact with Russia. The only thing I can tell you is nobody gets out if you're alive, people. But beware the anger of a patient man. Well, the most important news of the day, of course, is that this evening, the mighty Scotland are playing Scotland, who has never once made it to the the next stage of the World Cup, is up against the, how many times they won? 4, 5, 10, I don't know, Brazil. And our only chance of getting to the knockout stages is to at least draw with, but even better, beat the mighty Brazil. Don't count us out. Scotland has a way of doing this. They can play well against the biggest teams in the world and then fuck up against the smallest. Now, let's just all hope that this Brazilian psychic with 23 million followers on Instagram she says, and has been saying for weeks, that during tonight's game, an alien mothership is going to arrive and abduct hundreds of people, including some of the top Brazilian players. I think it's highly unlikely. However, I swear to God, if Scotland's 2-0 up and the fucking aliens arrive, I'm going to be mightily fucking annoyed. Okay, people. Keep yourself safe. Keep yourself hydrated. Keep yourselves cool. Enjoy the bloody weather. Fuck's sake. In the UK, millions, and I mean millions and millions of Brits, like me, and the boss, spend good money every year to fly to destinations that have better climates than we have. So stop moaning about the fucking weather. And apart from that, have yourself a really good week. Take care of yourself. Love those you can. And my final shout out is to the growing number of people, of would-be or the celebrities or influencers who continually think that we are too beyond the pale to be possibly invited onto their shows or to be seen in our company, and yet watch us secretly and steal our fucking stuff. Weekly, we get sent the clips where it's beyond coincidence the fact that you're using the very expressions, the very phrases, and the very information you're getting from the Last Jacobites. Here's the thing, scoundrels. We don't seek recognition, and we don't seek lucre or payment. But by using our information to clickbait your audience, you are following our agenda and getting at least some of the truth out there. So, thank you. Okay, folks, that's it. Enjoy the outro song and do me a favor. And for tonight, fuck to you all. Glenn will be back Friday, we'll be back Sunday. But fuck you.
I see a bad moon rising. I know there's trouble on the way. I see the earthquakes and lightning, and I see bad times ahead today. Don't come around tonight, it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. I hear the hurricane blowing. I know the end is coming soon. I fear those rivers overflowing. I hear the voices breaking ruin. Don't come around tonight, bound to take your life. There's a bad one on the ride. I hope you got yourself together. I hope you're all prepared tonight. Looks like we're in for stormy weather. Wonder what you've been thinking about tonight. Don't come around tonight, bound to be a fight. There's a band on the ride. Don't come around tonight, bound to take your life. There's a band on the ride. There's